The first time I saw her like that, my chest constricted, my heart thundering in a way I hadn't felt in years. Sunlight spilled across the wooden floorboards of my apartment, slicing through the curtains in golden slivers. And there she stood, my best friend's sister, Mara, wrapped only in the oversized shirt I had left at my apartment after a late-night poker game. The fabric hung loosely on her frame, brushing against her thighs, and my mind froze, a mix of shock, desire, and a strange, aching familiarity taking over. For a moment, the world outside disappeared. The hum of the city below, the clatter of dishes in my kitchen, even the distant sirens. Nothing mattered. It was just her, standing there, vulnerable, unguarded, and breathtakingly real. Before this moment, I thought I understood life, or at least my quiet corner of it. I was someone who kept people at arm's length, a photographer chasing moments rather than emotions, documenting life without truly living it. But Mara was a storm I hadn't seen coming. She had always been wild in subtle ways, the kind of person who could steal your attention without trying. Yet today, seeing her like this, a wave of emotion crashed over me, pulling me into a sea of longing and confusion I didn't know I was capable of. If you believe in kindness and second chances, I want you to pause for a moment and hit like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Spark. Stories like these remind us that life's most powerful moments often come when we least expect them. It hadn't started this way. Mara had come to me earlier that morning, desperate and teary-eyed, clutching a small duffel bag like it contained the entirety of her fragile world. She had run away from home after a fight that had turned too sharp, too cruel. Her father's voice, always booming, always disapproving, had cut her down again, making her feel like nothing she did would ever be enough. I could see it in her eyes, the same eyes that had sparkled with mischief during childhood summers in our neighborhood. Now they were clouded with pain, a storm of fear and hurt that she couldn't mask. "You don't have to do this alone," I said gently, reaching out, my voice betraying the worry I tried to hide behind calm words. She shook her head, biting her lip, as if trying to suppress a sob. "I don't have anywhere to go," she whispered, her voice trembling. I need to get out." And I did what any friend would do. I offered her my apartment, a safe place, even if just for the day. But the moment she entered, I realized that this was not just a temporary arrangement. Mara carried with her a storm of emotions that filled every corner of my home. Laughter one minute, tears the next, a restless energy that made the walls feel alive. She wandered through the rooms like a ghost seeking refuge, pausing by the window to watch the city wake up. I remember offering her some clothes while I rummaged through my drawers, thinking she might feel uncomfortable in her own vulnerability. But she smiled at me with a mischievous glint in her eyes and shrugged off my concern. "This is fine," she said simply, tugging my shirt over her shoulders, the fabric sliding softly against her skin, the casual confidence in her gesture, the way she claimed my world without asking permission, made my pulse race. For a moment, I didn't know how to breathe. She wasn't asking for anything, and yet somehow she had made me feel something I had buried long ago, a desire to protect, to care, to connect. I busied myself with coffee, trying to hide my racing thoughts. I could feel her presence in the room like electricity, soft yet undeniable. She moved with a quiet grace, poring over the photos I had scattered across the living room floor, commenting on each with a warmth that softened the sharp edges of my usual solitude. Mara had a way of making life feel bigger, brighter, like every moment had a hidden depth I had never noticed. As the morning light grew stronger, spilling across the kitchen tiles, she finally spoke again, her voice low, tinged with something unspoken. "I'm sorry," she murmured, "for showing up like this, for everything." I shook my head. "There's nothing to be sorry for," I said, though my own heart whispered a different truth. "You needed a place. You have it." She looked at me then, eyes wide, searching, as if trying to measure the sincerity in my words. And in that gaze I saw a raw, fragile hope that someone could care, could see her, could stay. It made me ache. The hours passed slowly, with the city outside moving in its usual relentless rhythm, while time inside my apartment felt suspended. We shared silence, broken only by occasional laughter or the clink of mugs against the counter. I caught myself stealing glances, memorizing the curve of her shoulder, the way sunlight caught the gold in her hair, the delicate rise and fall of her chest beneath the cotton shirt. It was intimate in a way that wasn't sexual but intensely human. Vulnerability has a way of breaking walls, of making two strangers or friends feel like they've known each other forever. By midday, the tension had shifted. Mara leaned against the couch, her head resting on my arm, and I felt a strange warmth bloom inside me. There was no rush, no pressure, just a quiet companionship that felt more like destiny than coincidence. I realized then that life doesn't always offer clarity. Sometimes it offers moments, fleeting, raw, and beautiful, that demand courage to embrace. We spent the afternoon walking through the city, hands brushing, sharing stories we hadn't dared to tell anyone else. Mara spoke of her childhood dreams, the fear that had held her back, and the loneliness that had pressed down on her like a weight she couldn't lift. I listened, offering what little wisdom I had, feeling an unfamiliar tenderness that was both protective and romantic. It was near sunset when she paused, turning to face with a seriousness that made my heart skip. "I don't want to leave," she admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "Not today, not yet."